Surface temperatures here regularly exceed 45 degrees Celsius. 250,000 abandoned mine shafts scar the ground. There is virtually no water for hundreds of kilometers, yet more than half of this remote outback town lives underground. Coober Pedy is a functioning city carved into sandstone. Homes, churches, hotels are all beneath the desert. How an entire community thrives in a place this hostile starts with a problem no ordinary building could solve. In the early 20th century, the first prospectors to arrive in this remote patch of the South Australian outback encountered a landscape of absolute exposure. Summer days routinely climbed past 45 degrees Celsius, rendering conventional above-ground shelters completely unlivable. Following the initial 1915 opal discovery by teenage prospector Willie Hutchison, miners working in shallow, hand-dug shafts quickly realized these excavated cavities remained naturally insulated. They described their first dugouts as natural refrigerators, providing vital refuge where they could recover from the punishing surface heat. With building timber virtually non-existent, carving directly into the dry sandstone hillsides became the only viable path to permanent settlement. What began as a makeshift solution to avoid the scorching desert sun laid the foundation for the modern town. Today, more than half of the population resides in these subsurface homes, enjoying a stable, year-round climate of 23 degrees Celsius. This subterranean lifestyle is a calculated strategy for survival, far removed from any modern tourist novelty. It raises the fundamental question: how does a modern community function when its entire daily life is buried beneath the desert? At a depth of just 2 to 3 meters below the surface, the punishing desert heat simply fades away. Here, the earth is composed of thick layers of ancient quartz-rich sandstone. This rock behaves as a natural thermal buffer, possessing a high capacity to absorb heat slowly and release it even slower, a process known as thermal lag. While the sun-beaten surface experiences wild temperature swings of over 40 degrees between day and night, the thermal energy takes weeks to penetrate the deep stone. For a typical dugout resident, this geology replaces the need for modern, energy-draining air conditioning. A protective surrounding envelope of just 1.5 meters of sandstone is thick enough to damp daily temperature variations to within a single degree. This keeps the interior of these hand-carved spaces resting at a stable, natural baseline of 23 to 25 degrees Celsius all year round. Staying comfortable underground requires deliberate design. Without ventilation, these dead-end chambers would quickly accumulate moisture. To prevent this, residents drill vertical shafts from the ceiling of their living quarters straight up to the desert surface. These pipes draw fresh air down and maintain indoor relative humidity at a comfortable level. This climate control system is entirely passive, relying on the physical properties of the earth instead of the electrical grid. With homes freed from the burden of constant cooling, this geological sanctuary provided the ideal foundation for a permanent settlement to take root. While the harsh desert climate dictated how early pioneers lived, the allure of mineral wealth decided why they stayed. Coober Pedy eventually grew to supply roughly 70% of the global market for white and crystal opal. This single gemstone became the economic engine of the entire region, transforming a temporary camp of prospectors into a permanent, self-sustaining community. Over the decades, generations of miners, cutters, and merchants have carved out livelihoods directly from the sandstone, establishing an industry that remains the town's financial backbone. This continuous search for precious stone shaped the very layout of the settlement, with homes and businesses often built directly into the empty spaces left behind by active mining. Today, the town remains the premier opal-producing region on Earth, supported by a dedicated local network of traders who keep the industry alive. The sandstone walls protect residents from extreme heat, but they also hold the key to their prosperity. Digging represents an active pursuit of wealth, securing the community's survival in the heart of the outback. The physical act of carving into the sandstone quickly expanded from a way to build private bedrooms into a method for constructing a fully functioning town. Underground, Coober Pedy is a subterranean civic network where public life mirrors the structure of any traditional, above-ground community. Residents walk through hewn rock archways to browse local bookstores, sit in quiet subterranean cafes, and visit art galleries where the walls are made of exposed, raw sandstone. Even recreation occurs within the earth. Underground hotels like the Desert Cave and Lookout Cave offer visitors the same rock-carved shelter as residents, complete with subterranean bar areas and sunless swimming pools carved directly into the ancient sandstone beds. These spaces operate as functional community hubs, protecting daily civic interactions from the brutal desert climate above. This underground infrastructure extends far past commercial businesses. The need for shared spiritual and cultural spaces led the town's diverse migrant population to carve out silent, cavernous places of worship, establishing some of the most remarkable hand-hewn architecture on Earth. On August 2, 1993, local miners consecrated the St. Elijah the Prophet Serbian Orthodox Church, carving it directly into a solid sandstone hillside. Measuring 30 meters long and 7 meters high, this subterranean sanctuary serves as a vital spiritual and social anchor for the town's Serbian diaspora. Community artisans hewed the church's arches and traditional iconographies directly from the raw rock face, creating a silent space where ancient religious rituals survive in the isolated outback. The church stands as physical proof that these settlers did not just build shelters to escape the heat, they carved out an enduring cultural identity deep within the earth. Yet while these hand-hewn chambers offer a peaceful sanctuary, the desert surface directly above holds a far more treacherous reality. Just beyond the subterranean homes lies a terrain riddled with invisible traps. Over a century of opal mining has scarred the red earth with more than 250,000 unmarked shafts. These vertical drops, plunging up to 30 meters deep, are often hidden by shifting dust and low desert scrub. These holes remain active. Hazards rather than historical relics. Local rescue teams regularly extract disoriented tourists and solo prospectors who step into empty air. Survival in this desert demands constant awareness of the ground underfoot, where a single misstep leads to a dark, silent fall. If the ground holds hidden dangers, it also lacks the single element required to sustain life. Coober Pedy has no natural water supply. Instead, survival depends on a saline bore located 25 kilometers northeast of the town along the Udna-Data Road. Every drop of water is pumped through a steel pipeline to a reverse osmosis desalination plant that has operated here since 1967. This facility strips the heavy minerals from the brackish underground reserve, turning a bitter desert resource into potable water. It is a constant, highly monitored logistical lifeline that quietly maintains the town's survival. On the edge of town, the Coober Pedy Opal Fields Golf Club operates without a single blade of grass. Formed in 1976 and expanded to 18 holes in 1996, this course replaces traditional greens with scrapes made of quarry dust mixed with waste oil. Players carry a portable piece of artificial turf for their tee shots, crossing a sun-baked expanse of red dirt and gravel. It is a striking adaptation, yet for the locals it is simply where they spend their Sunday afternoons. Here the extraordinary has become routine. From the shopkeepers tending underground storefronts to residents stepping out into the desert twilight, these daily rhythms form the heartbeat of a fully functioning community. Coober Pedy is no novelty. It is a living home built to endure. As global temperatures rise, this sun-scorched outpost is no longer just a curiosity. It is a blueprint. It proves that human resilience is carved, not just built. Perhaps our survival depends not on conquering the surface, but on learning when to retreat beneath it. Share your thoughts in the comments below.